Concord Township.
Hi, this is Vanessa.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, Vanessa.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so we are here to continue the public hearing for zoning text amendments as outlined below for section 16. So what I will do is, I know we had public comment last time and we were kind of housekeeping on a few things. So I would entertain a motion because we didn't do this last time to close the public comment, and then we can just kind of get into our discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we close the public comment.
Okay.
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And there's all in favor, none opposed. Okay, so I know we had some things to go over. Anybody want to?
Yeah, I
Discuss a little bit,
I
or-
can start off. I wanted to do some due diligence after the first public hearing. So I met with Heather Freeman and went over some of things that I needed clarification to that were brought up in the public section of the hearing. And as far as I think one of the big concerns was Amendment 5, when there was some discussion on the minimum recommended open space of 30% and whether or not that should be greater, or if so, if we were, and if not, were we giving away density in an RCD? And after speaking with Heather in that regard to the density, I feel comfortable with the recommendation that the zoning board made, and I know that Lake County Planning Commission also did not have any issue with that minimum recommendation of 30% open space. It was interesting because when I met with Heather, we had some discussion on what other percentages of land are taken up in some of these developments. And when you talk about the roads and the detention areas, which aren't considered in the open space, you're looking at potentially like 10% of the project. So I think there still needs to be some type of balance and incentive for developers, coming in and doing an RCD. So I'm comfortable now with 30% minimum open space recommendation. I know there was some discussion also about, during the construction, when land is disturbed, how does it get restored, to its where it should be,
Natural state.
Natural
Yeah.
state. Yeah, that's the language I'm looking for. Natural state. And I think it's reasonable to assume that there's going to be some disturbed land during construction in these developments, and I think that the developers will be held to a certain standard to restore that to its natural state through some type of landscape plan. But I know that there's also there's been some initial dialogue as far as a restoration plan may be implemented or discussed with the zoning board, as far as that being maybe adopted down the road and considered by the board of trustees to have a restoration plan implemented on these RCDs, so we can make sure that any disturbed land during the construction is appropriately restored in some regard. So after doing some due diligence on this, I think the zoning board, they worked on these zoning text amendments for I think over a year. They put a lot of time and effort and consideration and done due diligence. So I'm comfortable with the recommendations that are before us.
Yeah, and I wanted to comment on, I know at the last meeting, there was a comment based on the Lake County Planning Development on creating a density standard. So I was sort of interested in a little more information on that, and sort of understood that with an RCD, we're looking at, it's hard to create a standard on just any sort of piece of parcel. I mean, each parcel has its own challenges, and I think the zoning commission did a nice job of trying to come up with that 30% given those unique characteristics of each of those parcels. So I think that having a density standard would be pretty difficult, so feel that the 30% would probably make most sense for the open space in creating that density.
Okay. I have a couple comments. I mean, I've worked with this text for quite a long time, and I know that it dates back to like 2006 originally, when it was developed. And I know the zoning commission worked on this for a year, had a lot of public hearings, took in some public comment, had a public hearing on it as well. I know there's a lot of experience in that board and using this, as I've had experience with seeing it, and I see good work here. I see a lot of common sense things that were, excuse me, things that were a point of contention or we always had to deal with when we were voting on these things, and they've been taken care of. It's the tidying up. It's like, look, the township used the zoning for a period of time, and it's needed to be optimized and tweaked, and I think they did an outstanding job, very thorough. I know Heather and her staff as well did a great job working through this, and I'm comfortable with it. I think some of the things that were raised, questions and whatnot, are, you could sit there and debate some of this stuff for a year or kind of keep going round in circles, and I don't know that that's constructive. I think, again, there's been ample time, and I think to take on, at this point, in front of us, some of the more minutia kind of concerns is really kind of an 11th hour deal. I mean, the zoning board's worked on this for a year. They've had public comments. I know some of the points that were raised in our public hearing were not concerns that were raised at the zoning commission's public hearing. So I'm inclined to take the recommendation of the zoning board and move forward with this. So I think with that, if there's no additional comment, I think we can take a motion to close the public hearing, and then that would require us to vote within 20 days.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's all in favor and no opposed. And with that, we will close the public hearing, and the Concord Township Board of Trustee meeting will take place at 7:30 in about 23 minutes.
Okay.